All right, today we're working on a 2011 335i, the E90, more importantly, the N55 engine, the six-cylinder. We had a real loud squeal, thought it was the belt or tensioner or something like that. Turns out it's not. It actually is the PCV valve in the valve cover, so we're going to swap that out. Here we go. Need a set of external torque sockets, 7, 10, 14, 16, and 18, and then regular torques, 20, 25, and 30. Okay, first piece is taking off your air intake. There's a T20 Torx here, and a clip here and here. Thing is to remove the cosmetic cover, which is also a little bit of a sound baffle. Just simply pull up from the bottom here and then slides forward. So here, 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 and here. Okay, next we're going to take off the top part of the air cleaner. It's a 6mm screw here or a straight blade, your choice. I use a 6mm. And then you've got 4 clips. Then lift up. Then once you get it out here, then you have this to unclip. Just put your pick just underneath this tab right here and tip it up. It'll go over that catch right there. Okay, next we're going to remove the lower portion of the air intake. And it simply is take your filter out, set that aside, and then you've got 3 lift-off rubber connectors. Okay, once the lower portion of the air cleaner is off the 3 posts, then you reach back in here and lift off the rubberized connectors that support the wires. They just pull straight up. Once you get it out a little further, you can reach underneath here with needle nose pliers and pop the legs of the little clip out. Right, next is to remove this part of the structure that has your cabin air cleaner and some other things, just to get access to the back part of the valve cover. 8mm screws, and there's 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there's the cabin air cleaner. Great time to replace this. It just pops in with these 3 clips. And we're setting that aside, going after the rest of it. Okay, so now we're going to take off the cover area here. To pop off this cover, just simply lift up on this tab. There's the same tab on the back side. Lift up on that and pull that out of the way. Then you have a number 2 Phillips to take out this screw, which holds in the corner piece of rubber, and a number 8 socket to take out the bolt that holds in this side of the entire platform. Okay, next piece is to remove your cross member support. On the outside end, it's a female Torx 14, and that comes off right there. And in the center, take a large screwdriver, about an 1/8 of a turn on this cap, pull that off, and that exposes a external torque or a female torque 18, kind of up here on this angle. And with that, the bar will come out to the right-hand side of the car. Stop. Okay, with this bolt all the way out, and this bolt just needs to be loosened, go ahead and extract your bar, and you see it's got a U-shaped hole, not a hole. Okay, next step, we want to get those electrical cables that cross the top of the engine off. So you're going to go ahead and pop this little hold down clip off right here, and there's another one on the opposite side right over there. Just with a straight blade screwdriver, they just pop right out. And then carefully take all 3 cables and pull them out of their clips. Remember, those clips get brittle, you don't want to break them. And then we'll take all 3 together and zip tie them up to the windshield wiper arm so they're out of the way when you go to lift that valve cover in. After that, we're going to take off this engine sound insulator, and that just pops up off of 4 rubber grommets, basically 1 at each corner of the thing. Okay, just a little bit of housekeeping. To get the hood further out of the way, almost all the German cars allow you to open the hood to a real steep angle. What I use is a 61-inch long piece of 2x2. I drill a hole in each end, and then I zip tie it to the hood bracket down here and the hood latch up there to keep it from falling in case I hit it. You do have to pop the struts where there's one on each side. There's a ball joint here and a little spring clip inside. You can just pop it off with a screwdriver if you're careful. Don't scratch your hood. Or if you want to be more diligent about it, you can pop the clip from the back and it slides out these 2 slots at the front, and then it pulls off extremely easily. There's one on each side. As you come to the side, you can see that the hood opens to a lot steeper degree and really gets it out of the way of the whole valve cover. Okay, next thing we're going to get out of the way is this hose. It's not really in the way, but it's easy enough to get off of here. Pull up on that clip, and then pop the clip out the sides to get it completely out of the way. Don't let it go flying. There it is right there. And then that'll pop off with just a little bit of antifreeze coming out. Underneath that, we have one of the breather hoses that goes down into the air tube. It's a torque 25 to take out the 2 bolts that hold it. And what I recommend is that you buy the new one when you buy your valve cover. If you have the heated one, which most are, there's your part number from BMW. It's about a $40 part, but there's almost no way of getting this off on this old of a car without cracking this very, very thin tube. Mine's already cracked. In addition, there are 4 clips that hold it into position, and you can see mine's already broken. The new one has 4 clips that insert and click into place. Really hard to get those off without cracking them. You saw mine was cracked. And then extract this out. And then you've got the connection right there. Just pry up underneath the little tab and pull out. Okay, next thing is we're going to take the lower part of the air tube off. It's a 10mm bolt on the top. And down inside, there's a Torx 25 just on one side. You can see it's just one side of the thing. It looks like there would be one over here, but just one right there, and it lifts straight up. Next up is taking off this vacuum hose that goes across the top of the valve cover. It has a ring, and just take a set of long needle nose pliers, pinch right here and right here. That allows it to pop right off very easily. On the other end, it's just a rubber connection. Reach down in from the other side and pull it off. Next is to continue getting the electrical cabling out of the way. So just carefully pop these out of the clips. The clips stay with the rail, and we'll be pulling that out in just a second. When you come over to this one, you'll see that there's some real obvious push tabs. Push those together and it pops right up. Tab on each side. As you move to the back, you've got this real lightweight clip. Just go ahead and reach underneath and kind of pinch it while you're pushing it up through the hole. Then these pop out of the way. And then there's one more in that same style of clip. Mine's broken at the very back. And then these separate pretty obviously with a little click. Here's a closer look at these 3. This lightweight wire that comes down the side. This metal clip, just push on it with your finger and pull up, and the clip stays with it. This one, the tab is right here. You can hear a pretty positive click, and then that separates. And this one's the same. Okay, the last of those what look like electrical cables is actually a vacuum line, and it simply pulls off the side of your valve cover right there. It's just a slip-on, slip-off. Great piece to inspect to see if it has any cracks in it and replace it if it does. So that metal clip where the electrical cables were, that's a T30 that pulls that out. Get that up and out of the way. Then you have a T25 or a Torx 25 that holds the back of the wiring loom, and then it allows it to move. At the front, there's a little plastic clip right here. Just pull that down, and then it's free and out of the way. Now to release all the wires. For the coils, just lift the lid and it ejects the wire out of the way. Do that for all 6. Again, pop it and it ejects the wire. You've got 3 grounding wires. That's an 8mm nut. Take those 3 off and then pop them out of the way just so they're loose and they can come free. Then the only tricky part is getting your injector wiring taken care of. So right beneath the 2 wires, reach under with your straight pick, place it on the clip, and then they pull upwards. So you can see right down in there, I'm just using the clip to pull back on this, or the pick to pull back on this little clip. They pull straight out. I'll do one more. Okay, so now we're going to take off the fuel rail and the injector lines. They're 14mm fittings. We'll take all 6 off. I use a flare nut or a tubing nut wrench. You can use a normal 14mm. And then it's a 17mm over here to loosen up the main supply line. And you spin that off. You'll get just a little bit of fuel come out of it, but not too bad at all. Then with that, there are 4 12mm bolts that hold the rail to the head. So 12mm, take all 4 out. 2 of them are underneath these plastic clips. So the key to not breaking those is stick a flat blade screwdriver right underneath the lower part, kind of push down and then to the left side of the car. You'll feel it come out, and that's what it looks like. It's got a little tooth there, so you're putting your screwdriver in here, pushing down here, getting that little tooth to come out of the way. Real easy to break those. The last piece of it is getting your connector off the back. Bring a pick tool in from the bottom and just run it in from the bottom, and I'll show you where that little tab is. There's the tab right there, and you're running into the bottom of it and pulling it down. Move that out of the way, and your fuel rail literally just pops out. We just removed the fuel rail, and now we're actually removing the cover. There's one hose here that goes onto the forward nipple that's a part of the manifold. So go ahead and pull that off. Just remember that goes on the forward, or if it helps, label it. We went around and loosened all of the bolts holding on the valve cover. There's a bunch of them. It's a female Torx 10 that fits onto those, and all of these bolts are captured. They're all very easy to get to, with the exception of the 3 along the back. Right in the middle on the back, about a 4-inch extension worked. The one that's way down in the corner here, I did a 6-inch extension with either a wobble socket extension or a universal joint. Either one will work. And then the one up here on the top was only about, and that one's right here on the corner, and there's just not a lot of clearance. This connector stays with the motor, so you don't need to take out these 2 bolts, and it lifts off from there. It turns out that we do need to remove the left-hand bar, so again, 1 bolt on the outside, and then it's already loose, so just slide it out. Then after that, there are 3 bolts. 2 are kind of those screws. The outer ones are screws, and the middle one's a bolt, all with a 10mm head. And that allows a chunk of the center vent system to move out of the way sufficiently to gain some access for the valve cover to come out. Okay, we just took off the cover. Having removed that little piece of the cowl here allowed us to work the valve cover up to the left side of the car and then pull it out. It was a little bit of a trick getting underneath here, but there's some flexibility to this. and I think you'll be able to get it out no problem. Then carefully remove your seal. We put paper towels along the bottom edge to catch oil from running down the side. There really wasn't very much, but it's always nice to keep the engine dry. There's a total of 4 seals. The new part comes with new seals. In case I didn't mention it earlier, we pulled off this rubber strip, which just pulls straight off to separate this top plastic cover from the bottom plastic, which is a lot more rigid. What that does is it allows you to bring this thing up about 2 inches and get the cover underneath. We took the cover in right about in here and then got underneath this lip and then dropped it kind of over and to the right side of the car. Once we did that, we took a light and our hand and made sure that we had the gasket still in place all the way around, including on the back corner. If you have any kind of camera, a screen and a remote camera, you can go ahead and try to see it that way. We were able to feel along there that the gasket had remained in place. That's the important part, because it is pretty tough getting that back corner in. Other than that, you got a whole bunch of bolts to tighten down. I get them started by hand by turning them the wrong direction until I feel them drop into the threads, and then I turn them clockwise. To tighten them, I kind of go from the middle to the edges, opposite sides, doing a little bit at a time. Take your time. That way you don't distort your cover at all. It's a smart way of doing it. That's it. Okay, hey, there's one piece that needs to transfer, or 5 pieces that need to transfer over from the other, or the old valve cover, and that's these ball studs that the different pieces of engine plastic go onto. So there's 5 of them. Make sure you transfer them off. They come off with a 13mm tall socket. Pop them off and then put them in the same spots on the new one. That's where all your sound deadening plastics go. There's one additional piece that comes off your old valve cover. It's held on by 2 external Torx size 7, and it's just a seal that goes around this electrical connection. Goes down in there, screw on each side, and then the cable comes on and clicks right on the top. That's it. It's on with as little stress as possible. Put a little oil on each O-ring and then slide it on, and all 4 clips will clip in at the same time. And then while the tube is still loose, get the other end down into its hole on the intake tube, get it in position, and then bear down and it clunks into place. Then put your bolts in, the 10mm on the top and the Torx 25 down below. And then your 2 Torx 25s that hold in this tube.